What if I told you that the greatest secret of the ancient pharaohs was not buried in a golden tomb, but is, right now, buried deep inside your own head? It is not a metaphor. It is not a concept. It is a physical organ, a tiny pine cone-shaped gland no larger than a grain of rice, nestled in the precise geometric center of your brain. Science calls it the pineal gland. The ancient world, from the mystics of India to the philosophers of Rome, knew it by other names: the seat of the soul, the dream eavesdropper, the gateway to the gods. And the ancient Egyptians, the most advanced spiritual civilization the world has ever known, they called it the Eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye of divine consciousness. They understood its function. They knew it was a doorway, a direct biological portal connecting our physical reality to the higher realms of consciousness. A third eye, capable of perceiving worlds beyond our 5 limited senses, capable of profound intuition, limitless creativity, and a connection to the universal source. But there is a reason you cannot feel it. There is a reason why modern humanity feels more disconnected, more anxious, more spiritually stuck than ever before. Why conditions like brain fog, depression, and a crushing loss of purpose have become a global epidemic. The door is closed. The eye is blind. For the vast majority of human beings, this divine gland is dormant, suffocated, and hardened. It is calcified. Imagine a layer of stone forming around a tiny, sensitive radio receiver. That is what is happening inside your brain. It is a biological process, an accumulation of calcium phosphate shells that effectively neutralizes the gland's function. It shuts down your spiritual connection at its very source. And here is the most disturbing part. This is not an accident. The modern world, with its invisible toxins and relentless distractions, is a perfect machine for calcifying the pineal gland. And as we will soon discover, some of these toxins may not be accidental at all. But the Egyptians knew this. They foresaw this dark age of consciousness, and they left us a map. They didn't just build pyramids of stone. They built a pathway to reactivate the human soul, a complete scientific and spiritual protocol to break down the calcified shell and reopen the third eye. This is not just a history lesson. This is a manual for awakening. We will embark on a journey. We will decode the sacred symbols of the Nile, uncover the modern-day conspiracy to keep you asleep, and reveal the lost Egyptian secrets to decalcify your pineal gland. What you are about to hear is a combination of forgotten ancient wisdom and cutting-edge modern science. This is the knowledge that has been hidden, reserved for high priests and pharaohs until now. Your birthright is to be fully awake, to be connected, to be divine. The choice to reclaim that power begins now. To understand the solution, we must first understand the depth of the knowledge we have lost. The Egyptian mastery of the human body and spirit was millennia ahead of its time, while modern science has only recently begun to study the pineal gland. The Egyptians placed it at the very center of their entire cosmology. How do we know? They carved the proof directly into stone. Their most sacred symbol, seen everywhere from tombs to temples, is the Eye of Horus. We are told it is a symbol of protection, of royalty, of power. This is true, but its true meaning is one of the most brilliant anatomical diagrams in human history. For centuries, its unique design was a mystery, But in the 1990s, neuroanatomists studying the human brain made a staggering discovery. When you take a cross-section of the human brain, a slice directly down the center, and you overlay the Eye of Horus, the pieces match perfectly. The eyebrow of the Eye of Horus perfectly matches the corpus callosum, the bridge connecting the two hemispheres of the brain. The back of the eye, the part that slopes down, maps directly onto the cerebellum. The teardrop beneath the eye corresponds to the medulla oblongata and the spinal cord, the pathway of life force. And the pupil, the most important part, the very center of the sight itself, it lands precisely on the thalamus, with the pineal gland and the pituitary gland positioned just beside it. This is not a coincidence. This is a 6,000-year-old medical textbook hidden in plain sight. The Egyptians were showing us, look here, this is the center of consciousness. This is the eye within the eye. They didn't just know where it was, they knew what it did. Their entire spiritual system was designed to activate this axis. Let us look at their gods, not as cartoon characters, but as metaphors for neurological processes. Look at Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, magic, and writing. Thoth is the divine intellect. He represents the pineal gland's function, the ability to receive wisdom from the universe and transcribe it into physical reality. He is the master of sacred geometry, of astronomy, of medicine, all functions of a higher, integrated mind. Now look at Ra, the great sun god. Ra is not just the physical sun in the sky, he is the light that activates the gland. The pineal gland is photosensitive. It is, in a very real sense, a third eye. It contains photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, just like your two seeing eyes. It responds directly to light and darkness. The Egyptians knew that specific frequencies of light, especially from the rising sun, were food for the pineal gland. Ra's energy was the key that turned the lock of the Eye of Horus. And most telling of all, the uraeus. Why does every pharaoh wear a crown with a serpent, a cobra, rearing up from their brow directly over the location of the third eye? The uraeus represents the awakened kundalini energy, a concept most people associate with India, but the Egyptians knew it long before. They understood that vital energy, which they called Ka, lay dormant at the base of the spine. Through specific rituals, which we will cover, this serpent energy could be guided up the spinal column to the center of the brain. When this energy struck the pineal gland, it flared, activating the uraeus. The cobra would rise. This was the symbol of an enlightened being, a god king whose third eye was fully open. They weren't just wearing a crown, they were making a statement about their own neurological and spiritual state. They were awake. The pinacone, a symbol we see in statues of the god Osiris, at the top of the Pope's staff and in Buddhist temples worldwide, is a direct anatomical representation of the pineal gland. It is the universal symbol of enlightenment. The Egyptians built the Great Pyramids, massive resonance chambers, to amplify sound and energy. Why? Many researchers now believe they were not tombs at all, but activation machines. The King's Chamber is built from granite, a highly resonant stone, and positioned to create specific frequencies that vibrate in harmony with the human brain, designed to do one thing: stimulate the pineal gland and induce out-of-body, conscious expanding states. This civilization did not guess, they knew. They had a complete science of the soul, a science that has been brutally and systematically suppressed. The question is, why? Why has this knowledge been buried? The answer lies in the greatest enemy of the third eye, a modern toxin that has become the foundation of our industrial world. This sacred gland, this divine portal, is under attack. In the 1990s, a British scientist named Jennifer Luke made a shocking discovery. She was studying the effects of sodium fluoride on the human body. Her research concluded that the pineal gland, more than any other tissue or organ in the entire body, acts as a magnet for fluoride. The soft tissue of the gland, which should be pliable and active, begins to absorb these fluoride deposits. The deposits bond with calcium, forming calcium phosphate shells. Calcification. It's like dipping a wet seed in concrete, over and over, day after day. The average American pineal gland, by the time a person is 17 years old, is already heavily calcified. By old age, it can become so hardened it is visible on an X-ray, a solid, useless pebble of bone in the center of the brain. The primary source of this toxin? Your tap water. Since the 1940s, sodium fluoride, a synthetic industrial byproduct, has been purposely added to the public water supplies of the United States, Australia, the UK, and many other nations. The public story is that it is for dental health, to prevent cavities. But let's apply critical thinking. Let's follow the evidence. The fluoride used in our water is not the naturally occurring calcium fluoride. It is often sodium fluoride or hydrofluorosilicic acid, a toxic waste product scrubbed from the smokestacks of the phosphate fertilizer and aluminum industries. It is a classified neurotoxin. If it were truly for teeth, why would we need to ingest it? Why not simply apply it topically, as in toothpaste? Why drink a substance that affects every system in our body? This is where the story darkens. This is the controversial truth that the Egyptian priests understood and warned against. A calcified pineal gland does more than just stop you from having spiritual visions. It disrupts your entire hormonal system. The pineal gland's primary job is to produce melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep, mood, and the immune system. A calcified gland means poor sleep, which leads to anxiety, depression, and a weakened immune response. But it goes deeper. The pineal gland also regulates your docility, your passivity, your willingness to accept a reality that is given to you. A population with calcified pineal glands is a population that is sluggish, depressed, disconnected, and easily controlled. They lose their intuition. They lose their ability to question authority. They lose their connection to a higher power and thus their own personal power. Is it a coincidence that the first widespread use of fluoridated water began in Nazi Germany? Researchers have pointed to evidence that it was used in the concentration camps to make the prisoners docile and easy to That is not a theory. It is a chemical warfare on your consciousness. It is the systematic dulling of the human spirit to create a population of compliant workers, not divine, awakened beings. And this chemical attack is aided by two other modern weapons. First, the modern diet. Our food is saturated with refined sugars, synthetic chemicals, and hormones. This creates a highly acidic state in the body, which accelerates the calcification process. The body pulls calcium from your bones to neutralize the acid, and this free-floating calcium is then deposited onto the pineal gland, hardening it further. Second, the light and dark famine. As we learned, the pineal is activated by light and darkness. Our ancestors rose with the sun and slept in total darkness. We live in a state of perpetual gray light. We spend our days inside, starved of the full-spectrum sunlight that feeds the gland, and we spend our nights staring into the high-frequency blue light of our phones, our televisions, our computers. This blue light is a poison to the pineal gland. It sends a constant signal: it's daytime, it's daytime, it's daytime. The gland never receives the signal of total darkness required to produce melatonin, and, as many researchers theorize, to produce its most sacred and mysterious compound, DMT, dimethyltryptamine, the spirit molecule, a powerful psychedelic compound that your own brain is meant to produce naturally, believed to be the chemical key to visions, mystical experiences, and profound self-realization. They have calcified our gland. They have stolen our darkness. They have shut down the spirit molecule factory inside our own heads. They have, in effect, blinded the Eye of Horus. But, as the Egyptians knew, what is built can be unbuilt. What is hardened can be softened. What is asleep can be awakened. The process of awakening the third eye is not a mystical wish. It is a biological process. You cannot meditate your way out of a chemical prison. You must first detoxify the body. You must first stop the assault. The Egyptian protocol for decalcification is a three-step process. Step 1. The Great Elimination. Stop the poison. This is the most crucial step. You cannot clean a house while the windows are open in a dust storm. First, fluoride. You must assume that your tap water is compromised. The most effective way to remove fluoride is not a simple Brita filter. You need a high-quality water filtration system. The two best methods are reverse osmosis or a Berkeley water filter with the additional fluoride removal elements. This is a non-negotiable investment in your consciousness. Second, check your toothpaste. Throw away any brand that contains fluoride. There are dozens of effective, natural, fluoride-free alternatives available everywhere. Third, clean your kitchen. Eliminate processed foods, refined sugars, and sodas. These acidic products are fueling the calcification process. Read your labels. If it's in a box and has a list of ingredients you cannot pronounce, it is working against you. This first step alone will stop the damage and allow your body's natural healing processes to begin. Step 2. The sacred foods, the detoxifiers. Now that you have stopped the assault, you must actively break down the calcium shells that have already formed. The Egyptians were masters of herbal medicine. Their diet was rich in powerful, natural decalcifiers. The first and most powerful is tamarind. The fruit of this sacred tree is a staple in Ayurvedic medicine and was known to the Egyptians. It is one of the only natural substances studied by modern science to be proven to flush fluoride out of the body through urination. You can consume it as a tea, a paste, or in its natural pod form. Next, raw cacao. The real stuff, not processed chocolate. Raw, organic, cold-pressed cacao. The Mayans called it the food of the gods, and the Egyptians likely had access to similar compounds. Cacao is one of the richest sources of magnesium and antioxidants on the planet. Magnesium is critical. It helps to dissolve the calcium phosphate shells and stops more calcium from accumulating. It is a true third eye superfood. Then we have the great detoxifiers, chlorella and spirulina. These blue-green algae are powerful chelators. They bind to heavy metals and toxins in your body and pull them out. Cilantro. This simple herb is a potent heavy metal detoxifier. Turmeric. The curcumin in turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory and is believed to have neuroprotective effects, shielding the pineal gland. Apple cider vinegar. Raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar contains malic acid, which helps to dissolve excess calcium. And we must add two critical minerals that are missing from our modern diet: iodine and boron. Iodine, found in seaweed like kelp and dulse, is essential for thyroid function and for dislodging fluoride. Fluoride, being in the same halogen family, bullies iodine out of your body's receptors. Replenishing your iodine levels is a powerful way to push the fluoride out. Boron, a trace mineral found in raisins, dates, and prunes, is another miracle decalcifier. A tiny amount per day has been shown to be incredibly effective at dissolving calcification. The Egyptian diet was simple: fruits from the sun, like figs, dates, and grapes, life-giving vegetables, clean water, and sacred plants. Step 3. The sacred flower, the blue lotus. This is perhaps the most mystical part of the Egyptian protocol. In countless temple carvings, you see the gods and goddesses holding or sniffing a beautiful blue flower, the blue lotus. This was not just decoration. The blue lotus, Nymphaea caerulea, is a psychoactive plant. When steeped as a tea or soaked in wine, it acts as a mild sedative and a powerful consciousness expander. The Egyptians used it in their most sacred rituals. Why? It is believed to directly stimulate the pineal gland. Users report profound meditative states, heightened intuition, and incredibly vivid lucid dreams. It is the key that gently opens the door, allowing the mind to access the realms the third eye is meant to see. While it is not a decalcifier in the same way as tamarind, it is an activator. It coaxes the gland back to life. This three-pronged protocol, elimination, detoxification, and activation, formed the physical foundation of the Egyptian path. By cleaning the temple of the body, they prepared the ground for the sacred rituals that would finally turn the light on. Once the gland is clean, it must be exercised. It must be re-taught how to see. The Egyptians knew that consciousness was not just chemical, it was electrical. It was energetic. They called this life force Ka. Their most sacred rituals were not about worshiping gods on the outside, but about cultivating the Ka on the inside. They used 4 primary technologies to do this: light, sound, breath, and darkness. Ritual 1. Sun gazing, or the Raw Protocol. This is the most powerful and the most dangerous of the rituals, and it must be treated with absolute respect. The pineal gland is a photosensitive eye. It needs light, but not just any light. It needs the full spectrum healing light of the sun. The Egyptians, who worshipped Ra, the sun god, knew this. Critical safety warning. You never look at the sun during the middle of the day. You will permanently destroy your physical eyes. The raw protocol, or sun gazing, can only be done in the first 15 to 30 minutes of sunrise or the last 15 to 30 minutes of sunset. This is the golden hour when the UV index is 0 and the sun's light is a gentle, healing red spectrum. The practice is this. You stand barefoot on the earth. This is called grounding or earthing. It connects your body's electrical circuit to the planet. As the sun crests the horizon, you allow your open eyes to gaze directly at the sun's orb. You do this for only a few seconds at first. You breathe deeply. You visualize the golden red light enter your eyes, traveling up your optic nerve and striking the pineal gland in the center of your head. You feel it. You visualize the light like a golden energy, dissolving any remaining calcification and charging the gland like a battery. As you build this muscle, you can slowly increase the time, day by day, up to a few minutes. This practice directly feeds the third eye. It stimulates the production of serotonin, the daytime hormone, which in turn will be converted into more melatonin at night. It is the most direct way to speak to the gland in its own language, the language of light. Ritual 2. Sacred Sound, the Sistrum. The Egyptians understood the power of vibration. The universe is not matter, it is music, it is frequency. In their temples, the priestesses used a sacred instrument called the Sistrum. It was a U-shaped rattle with metal discs. When shaken, it produced a high-frequency shimmering sound. Researchers studying the science of kymatics have shown how specific sound frequencies can arrange matter into beautiful, complex geometric patterns. They can also shatter matter. The sound of the system was not for entertainment. It was a technology. The high frequencies were designed to create a resonant field that would literally vibrate the pineal gland, helping to break apart the hardened calcium shells. How can we apply this today? Through chanting. The sacred sound Om, which is universal, is a powerful tool, but many sound healers point to a specific solfeggio frequency, 936 Hertz. This frequency is known as the frequency of the gods, or the pineal gland activator. You can find this frequency online. You can listen to it with headphones in a dark room. You can also try to tone it with your own voice. Close your eyes, breathe in, and as you exhale, create a high-pitched M or E sound and feel the vibration in the center of your skull. Direct the sound to that point. This is your own internal system, using your own voice to create a resonant, healing vibration. Ritual 3. The Serpent's Breath, Uraeus Activation. This is the ritual to awaken the Ka, the energy at the base of the spine. This is a form of pranayama, or breath work. Sit comfortably with your spine perfectly straight. Close your eyes. Place your tongue on the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. This connects the governing and conception energy meridians. Now breathe, but not into your chest. Inhale deeply through your nose, visualizing that you are pulling a line of brilliant, hot white energy from the base of your spine. Pull this light up your spine, vertebra by vertebra. As you reach the top of your inhale, bring this energy into the center of your head. Hold the breath for a count of 5 and visualize this energy blowing inside the pineal gland, a starburst of light. Now exhale powerfully through your mouth. Repeat. Inhale, pull the serpent of energy up the spine. Hold, strike the pineal gland. Exhale, release. Doing this for just 5 to 10 minutes will create an intense feeling of heat, vibration, and energy in your body. You are manually driving your ka to the third eye. You are activating the uraeus. Ritual 4. The Kek Meditation, Sacred Darkness. Finally, the most profound ritual. The Egyptians had a god for the primordial creative darkness. This god was named Kek. They knew that true activation did not happen in the light, it happens in the dark. The pineal gland's true function is only activated in total, absolute darkness. This is when it produces melatonin, and this is when it is theorized to release DMT. Our modern darkness is polluted with light from our clocks, our phones, and the streetlights outside. It is not true darkness. The ancient priests would practice in dark rooms, deep within the pyramids, for days at a time. You must replicate this. Your bedroom must be a sanctuary of darkness. Use blackout curtains. Cover every single LED light, from your TV, your computer, your charger. The room must be so dark you cannot see your hand in front of your face. This is where you meditate. This is where you sleep. It is in this sacred total darkness that the pineal gland finally feels safe to open. It is here that the magic happens. The detox, the sun, the sound, and the breath are all preparations for this moment. When you give your third eye the gift of true darkness, it will give you the gift of true sight. The third eye is your birthright. It is not a myth. It is not a New Age fantasy. It is a piece of divine biological technology that was gifted to you by creation. The ancient Egyptians were not a primitive people obsessed with death. They were a sophisticated civilization obsessed with consciousness. They understood the human body as a temple, and the pineal gland as the holy of holies within it, the direct connection point between the human and the divine. They left us a complete blueprint, a map out of the dark. We have seen the enemy, a physical calcification, a chemical assault from fluoride, a toxic diet, and a famine of light and darkness. We have seen the political and industrial machine that prefers us to be asleep, docile, and disconnected. But more importantly, we have seen the solution. You now possess the knowledge to fight back. You have the detoxification protocol, the elimination of toxins, and the embrace of sacred foods like tamarind and raw cacao. You have the activation rituals, the light of Ra, the sound of the Sistrum, the breath of the serpent, and the sacred darkness of Kek. This is the lost key. This journey is not about seeing things. It is not about having psychedelic visions, though that may happen. It is about reclaiming your intuition, that gut feeling that is never wrong. It is about reclaiming your creativity, the ability to download ideas and solutions that seem to come from nowhere. It is about reclaiming your sovereignty, your power to think for yourself, to question the narrative, and to choose your own path. It is about reclaiming your connection, a profound, unshakable feeling that you are not alone, that you are part of something infinitely larger and more intelligent then yourself. The pharaohs were not gods because they were born of a special bloodline. They were gods because they practiced the science of awakening their own inner divinity. That same power is inside you. It is not in a pyramid. It is not in an ancient text. It is waiting, dormant, in the center of your brain. It is waiting for you to clean the temple. It is waiting for you to open the door. It is waiting for you to turn on the light. The Eye of Horus is not just a symbol from the past. It is a map for your future. Your journey to awakening has begun. What you choose to do with this knowledge will determine everything. Comment "I am awake" below to signal your intention to the universe and to yourself. The work is not easy, but the reward is everything.